Wake up, boys, and listen to me for 1 second, because I'm going to teach you exactly how I was able to build the physique that I've always wanted, and it comes down to the diet today. The diet is what I'm going to teach you. You expecting me to click on this video and turn around and say, oh yeah, you should do this exercise because that's going to get you insane muscle growth and you're going to have the perfect physique in 6 months' time. That is not the case. Diet is around 40% of this journey, and it's until you take it seriously that you're actually going to reap the benefits. Here's the fucking proof, bro. Here is the proof. I was able to maximize and optimize my diet no matter where I was in, school, work, college, and it allowed me to build the physique of my dreams. Do you understand how valuable that is? When you're in work, college, sixth form, that takes up at least 5 days of your week, could be even 7 days of the week, and you cannot afford to be inconsistent with your diet, one meal every single day. You cannot afford to do that. You will never achieve the true potential of your physique if you're constantly inconsistent in your diet. And the way to solve this is meal prepping, understanding and how to implement meal prepping into your day-to-day so you can prepare for the situation of being in work, prepare for the situation of being in college. And that's how you build the physique that you've always wanted. It's all good sticking to a relatively decent diet at home. If you're in work 7 days a week, you're not going to stick to that diet, are you? Because you're not at home all the time. So it's all about adapting to your situation and being able to meal prep and stay consistent on your diet no matter where you are. And that is what I'm going to teach you today. There we go. So the 3 main goals that we want for you today are: we want you to have a good performance, obviously, look very, very good as well, and also your health as well. Most people just focus on one, and that's how they look. And this gives me the excuse of the if it fits your macro scam. I've talked about this loads, it's bullshit. Eat healthy foods to be healthy, yada, yada, yada. Most people look at the I want to look good one, and that gives them an excuse to eat whatever they like, as long as it fits macros, as long as they're not eating too many calories. But then when they try and cut down, they never really get as lean as they'd like. They accidentally bulk too far. They feel like shit. They wonder why they can't progressively overload consistently because their performance is terrible. That's why I want to consistently focus on all of these things: your performance, your physique, obviously, and your health. They're the 3 things I want to take into consideration when talking about your diet today. So don't just focus on the macros. I didn't build a great physique by just focusing on the macros. I focus on all of it. Be a professional. Your performance, which is very important for progressive overload. Obviously your physique, you already care about that. And your health as well. Remember, this is a healthy sport until you get to the steroids part in the future. Bodybuilding as a whole naturally should be, in my eyes, a healthy sport, and I feel like the fitness influencers and the trends going around are taking that too far. It's not being applied. It's not a health sport anymore. It's been taken beyond, and I think that's wrong. I think if you're a natural bodybuilder, you should be training for health, unless you want to go on steroids and go on stage, etc., etc. So without further ado, the first one we're going to talk about today is what to eat. Now, you expect me to turn around and tell you, hey, you should eat this and that and that. The 9 top foods that you should eat to be able to get to 225 pounds lean. Bullshit. There's no one specific food that I can give you that you're going to eat that's going to turn you into a bloody bodybuilder straight away. That's not how it works. How you eat is specifically designed to you. If it works for you, it works. There's no one rule fits all. It's similar to the training. The most optimal way to train is to train for you, for your enjoyment. And it's the exact same with diet. The most optimal diet is the one that works for you. So I can turn around and say, yeah, you should eat white fish and you should eat chicken with no seasoning and you should eat bloody steak medium rare. I can say all that shit to you and it might not work for you because 1, you might not even know how to cook those foods. 2, you might not even have them foods available. So you're not gonna do it, right? It's that simple. So I'd rather you, instead of me telling you, yeah, you should eat this, you should eat that, I want me to tell you a set of questions that you can ask yourself so you can find out what diet works for you. Now, the first thing that I've got is what are your calorie and macronutrient goals? So do you want to bulk? Do you want to cut? Do you want to maintain? How many calories are you going to eat to be able to achieve that? And what macros are you going to hit inside of them calories? That's going to allow you to build a good physique. You know you need about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein around there, 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight, and then just fill the rest with carbs. That's always what I suggest. I've got so many videos on that, have a look. But that's just quickly what I suggest. So what's your body weight?
what are your macros going to be, because your macros would be the same as mine. You may weigh heavier than me, you may weigh less than me, so you might want more protein than me, you might need less protein than me. Whatever it is, your macros aren't going to be the same as me, your calories aren't going to be the same as mine. So if I was telling you, yeah, I eat 3,100 calories a day at around 180 grams of protein, 85 grams of fat, yada yada, that's nice, that's why it works for me, because I'm 80 kilos. But it's not going to work for you, someone who's 60 kilos, or someone who's 100 kilos. It's not going to work that way for you. You're going to have to decide on your own. I've got so many guides about going on calorie calculator and MyFitnessPal and all that, so just search up on my channel if you want how to get your calories and macros sorted, and I guarantee it will pop up. But just find out what are your calorie and macronutrient goals. And then from here, we're going to think, what meals and what foods can you eat in a day? And the way that we solve this question is create an ingredient or a meal list, or both. So we've talked about we want to optimize for health and performance, and one way to do that is through eating whole foods only. Whole food is basically a food which doesn't have an ingredient. I was just going to go on a rant then about how I seen this meme and it was like, oh, me when I eat whole foods, it's a guy with a shit physique, and then me when I eat fast food and it's like insane physique. And it actually does my head in, the misinformation that's being spread. But anyway, we're gonna do a whole foods list. So you're gonna put it into 4 categories. You're gonna have like your protein or your meat products, then you're gonna have like your carbohydrates, and then you're gonna have your fruits and vegetables, and then you're gonna have your accessories. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna group all the foods that you're gonna eat in your diet. And the less you have on the list, the better. But for me, I suggest that your starting point would be 20 or 30 ingredients on that. So pick about 5 or 6 for each one of these groups. That's what I recommend that you do. And now you have a list of 20, 30 ingredients that you are only allowed to eat, and every single one of them is a whole food and every single one of them is healthy. You're already ahead of 99% of the competition when you do this. Most people never know what they want to eat. They rely on their feelings and emotions to pick what they eat, and they end up eating shit. You've got a scheduled, regimented list of things that you're only allowed to eat. That's amazing. So for me, the example would be like for protein or meat products, it'd be like chicken, steak, mince. Them things are available to me, so I pick those things. Then for carbohydrates, sweet potatoes, like regular potatoes, rice. Them things are available to me, so I'll eat those things. So I'll include them on my list. Then fruits and vegetables is like strawberries, raspberries. You can go to me. And then accessories is things like that don't fit into the previous ones, like eggs. It's not really a meat product, it's not really carbohydrate, it's not really a fruit. Honey, almond butter, protein powder, unflavored. Like get really, really specific with it. Creatine, even though it's a supplement, I still include that on mine. Get really, really autistic with it. Think about all the things that you can eat that you need. So some of them you may need, like your protein powder or your creatine. Some of them you may really want to have. So it forces you to make decisions, and tough decisions of what you can and can't eat. That's why I say the less the better. Make it less complicated. And when you're doing your meal list and your ingredient list, the one thing that I always want you to ruminate on is, are these foods accessible to me and can I cook them? They're the 2 most important things, because most people get to this point, they design a diet, they design the ingredients list, they do all these great things, better than 99% of people, as everyone says, but then they never actually take action on their diet because 1, they can't cook it, and 2, they can't even buy it. It's not even accessible to them. As a teenager especially, you feel like you're out of control of the food that your parents buy into the house. So it's best to make the best from your situation rather than promising yourself you're going to buy this certain food and that certain food when you don't do the shopping. So make the best of your situation rather than expecting a different situation to arise, which is super unrealistic. So that's what I did. I worked with the foods that I already got bought in, and then I just convinced my parents to buy more, because convincing your parents to buy more of this food is so much more easy than convincing them to buy new foods that they not really in the habit of buying. So that's what I suggest. What foods are accessible to you and what foods can you cook? Because you can't rely on your parents to cook you every meal of the day. You can't rely on your big or little brother to cook you every meal of the day. You have to do it. You have to take responsibility. So what's accessible to you and what can you cook? And once you come up with this ingredients list with the little groups of 20 to 30 ingredients, now I want you to make 2 or 3 meals per meal time, if that makes sense. So 2 or 3 for breakfast, 2 or 3 for lunch, 2 or 3 for dinner, 2 or 3 for middles in between. I don't know how many meals you have a day. 4 or 5 is my suggestion. And you're gonna write down an example meal and then 1 or 2 replacement meals in case you don't have an ingredient of the first meal in your house, if that makes sense. So for me, a quick example of this would be, for me, usually in the morning, I will have 6 eggs, 4 toast, tiger bread or sourdough, particularly. And then I'd have a little bit of cheese, like 10, 15 grams of cheese on the top. That's what I'd have. And then in my replacement meal, I would then, instead of having maybe the toast, or instead of having the cheese, I would have sauce. Because I always have eggs in, so I never replace the eggs. And instead of having bread, maybe I'll have no bread and I'll have to have more carbs in my lunch. Or maybe I'll have a whole different meal. So for breakfast instead, maybe I'd have like the bagels with the salmon and the cream cheese. And I'd have 2 of those. And I have, basically the point is I have a replacement meal. So instead, if in case I don't have the ingredients for the first one, I've always got the back off, and I'm never sat there thinking, oh, I don't have the ingredients for my meal, what am I going to eat, what am I going to eat? Because when you get into that state of not being able to eat what you wanted to originally, and now you're in this like free-for-all, basically saying, I need to eat whatever I need to eat, you're going to pick the easy option. You're going to pick the junk food. You're going to pick the bullshit that's going to set you back in your diet as a whole. And especially when you're in college in sixth form, fast food is so easy to get, super easy to get. Like, you just walk past a Subway. That's literally, there's a Subway about 30-second walk away from my college. You think I was like going there every day before I discovered all this stuff? Of course I was. Every time I didn't have a meal prepared, I'd just be like, oh, sack it, I'll just go Subway, because it's so easy and your friends are already going anyway. When you've already got food, there's no reason to go Subway, so you just won't. But when you haven't got anything, you're deciding, and then all your mates are going Subway, and it's a 30-second walk around the corner, and you really like it, you're not going to say no to that bullshit. So you need to be able to be prepared by having these replacement meals, just in case you don't have one ingredient from your main meal. And then once you've got your meal list, so ideal meal you have for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and then obviously your replacement meals in case you don't have an ingredient, just try and eat that every single day. Genuinely, that is it. The only way I was able to change my diet is by living in routine. It is that simple. And this takes us on to our second point here, which is consistency in meal prep. So I'd have my diet and I'd be sorted. Every time I'd be off sixth form or off work, I'd be able to stay to this diet because, you know, I just make it and then eat it, yada, yada, yada. But when it came around to being in sixth form or being in work, I would often forget to meal prep because I'm so used to making food that I eat it straight away. Excuse me, bro. I'm so used to making food and eating it straight away. I never got into the habit of prepping. So when I come round to being in work, I'd kind of get ready for work and then realize, oh shit, I've got no food to eat. And that's every single time where I'd fall back into the same rut of, oh, I'll just eat what's easy, and I'll fall back into the rut of having a poor diet again. So you need to get into the habit of being used to meal prepping. So the one tip that changed it for me is not only living in routine and eating the same meals every day, like we've already said, but making your dinner with your breakfast. Now this is insane because every morning I'd have enough time to have breakfast. It'd just be part of my morning routine, and I suggest this for you. Have a morning routine and have a time to have breakfast and meal before you go to work or to sixth form. It's that simple. If you have goals of intermittent fasting, again, that's different. I don't know you. But in general, rule of thumb, have a rule where you have breakfast before you leave for sixth form or college. Maybe not first thing in the morning, maybe do some like work or whatever, keep your brain clear, etc. prior, but definitely just before you leave, just have a quick meal for work or for college. And the habit that I get into is because you're already in the flow of cooking, it's gonna be very easy for you to then just cook your dinner at the same time. Right? It's extremely important. Every time I go to meal prep, I just couldn't be arsed. And there's a reason why I never meal prep on a Sunday for the rest of the week, is because I don't want to spend 1, 2, 3 hours cooking and just cooking for the sake of cooking. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just cook while I'm in the flow of it, and you're in the flow of it while you're already cooking for breakfast. And usually it's quite good because you can shove your breakfast on and shove your dinner on at the same time. And then it's just like, you're basically not even cooking at that, but like you're just cooking breakfast like normal, but you're also getting a meal prep out of it. So when you're already in the flow of cooking, it's very easy to meal prep, you know? So the first tip is make sure you've got enough time to have breakfast in the morning. And the second tip is cook your dinner while you're having breakfast. That's the only way I did it. I never liked cooking it the night before and freezing it or refrigerating it overnight. I never liked that sort of stuff. I just rather just cook it in the morning. It feels more fresh. You don't have to warm it up and it tastes rubbery and shit. Like the pasta doesn't go weird. The chicken doesn't go weird when you have to, like, you're going to really reheat chicken once, and after you do that you can't do it. So it's kind of awkward. Just cook it with your breakfast and I guarantee you'll be in the flow and you'll never miss it. And then also, you need to get into the habit of defrosting things. We store a lot of our chicken in the freezers, like we buy it in bulk, and then I have to defrost it the night before. So I literally add it in my night routine to maybe while I see go outside and reset my circadian rhythm, see a sunset or whatever, I will get chicken out of the freezer. So that is part of my night routine. So make it part of your routine. Defrost the night before, make your food in the morning. I guarantee that you will already double your consistency in meal prepping. Just put it in the box and you're ready to go. And then the third thing we've got is routine. The more you do it, the more consolidated the habit gets. That's just how habits work. That's how routine works. So the more you just practice this, if you ever feel like you have a bit of friction towards doing this, if you ever feel like, oh, I just can't be bothered, just keep thinking to yourself, right, soon enough it'll set in, and it'll set in. I can tell you this from confidence because it's setting for me. I do this shit on autopilot now. I cook my dinner with my breakfast so much that I just don't even feel like it's a weird thing to do anymore. It's just normal for me. Like it used to be normal for me to just cook something and eat it. Now it feels normal for me to just cook my dinner with my breakfast. Even when I'm not in work, I do it. That's how you know it's a consolidated habit. Even when I'm not in work, I'll just cook it now and I'll eat it later. It's that simple. And the habit is consolidated. So the more you do this habit, the more you get into the routine of defrosting it the night before, cooking with your breakfast, and then I guarantee you'll never miss a meal prep ever again, and it'll become autopilot. And now you won't even have to search a video for it, you won't even have to think about it. It'll just be there in your mind all the time, and that's the final level you want to get to. That's the final level where you never ever ever break your diet, and that's the level that I'm at. I'm super consistent on it. I've literally got the best physique that I've ever had. I'm super happy, and this is the most consistent I've ever been on my diet. Excuse me, bro. Bloody hell, sorry, bro. And it makes me super happy. I'm now known as the person who eats the same things in work all the time. I got sent a reel by one of my friends the other day, and she was just like, "This is literally you," and it was like a meal of when that same co-worker eats the same things all the time. Because I just eat chicken and rice all the time, bro. And that's how you know when other people are noticing it, and when other people are having banter with you about it, but not taking the piss because secretly they're jealous anyway. That's when you know you've done it. Loads of people used to take the mick out of me and 6 months for it, but obviously as a joke. And bro, that's how you know you've done it. So they're the things that you need to do to be consistent in your diet for school and work. So you need to have an ingredient list and a meal list that you eat every single day just to get consistent in your diet, hitting your calories and your macros for performance, health, and obviously your physique as well.